Hello, dear shipmates. Lucky Mies 205 over here, and this time we're gonna review Ironblood Ultra Rare Submarine, or if I have to correct myself, Elektroboote U-2501 from German Kriegsmarine. Well, I think she was so lucky that you can actually find one Type 21 U-boat in the Wilhelm Bayer Bremerhaven in Germany. Now, what is U-2501? Well, this is a Type 21 submarine that is supposed to be mostly operating underwater compared to the other U-boats. But what I could put together with the information I have over here, one is from the Wikipedia and the other one is a description from the World of Warships, and I'm gonna put things together, something like this, starting from the World of Warships description. U-2501, the first project for submarines designed specifically to stay most of the time underwater, was Project 21. They were equipped with improved batteries and a snorkel, a device that enabled the use of diesel engines for underwater movement. These submarines were also equipped with low-noise electric motors, allowing them to stealthily approach their targets. The lead submarine of the series, U-2501, did not participate in combat patrols and was sunk in Hamburg on May 3rd, 1945. And that is the World of Warships description about the Type 21 submarine, and from the Wikipedia is the German submarine U-2501. German submarine. I'm gonna read which says the following. German submarine U-2501 was Type 21 U-boat, one of the Elektroboote of the German Kriegsmarine. Built for service in World War II, the submarine was laid down on 3rd April 1944 at the Blohm & Voss yard at Hamburg, launched on May 1944 and commissioned on 27 June 1944. U-2501 conducted no patrols and was scuttled at 708, let's go with that, on 3rd May 1945 at Hamburg. She suffered no casualties to her crew during her short career. And the design looks like the like all Type 21 U-boats, U-2501 had displacement of 1,621 tons when at the surface and 1,890 tons while submerged. She had a total length of 76.70 meters, which is 251 feet and 8 inch. A beam of 8 meters, 26 feet and 3 inch, and trough of 6.32 meters, which is 20 feet and 9 inch. The submarine was powered by two MAN SE supercharged 6-cylinder diesel engines, each providing 4,000 metric horsepower. Two Siemens Schuckert double-acting electric motors, each providing 5,000 PS, which is 3,700 kilowatts, and two Siemens Schuckert silent running electric motors, each providing 210 26 PS, which is 166 kilowatts. The submarine had a maximum surface speed of 15.6 knots, which is 28.9 kilometers per hour, and a submerged speed of 17.2 knots, which is 31.9 kilometers per hour. When running on silent motors, the boat could operate at a speed of 6.1 knots, which is 11.3 kilometers per hour. When submerged, the boat could operate at 5 knots, which is closely 10 kilometers per hour, but it is now 9.3 kilometers per hour. For 340 nautical miles, which is translated to 630 kilometers. When surfaced, she could travel 15,500 nautical miles, which is 28,700 kilometers at 10 knots speed, which is 19 kilometers per hour. U-2501 was fitted with 6 21-inch torpedo tubes in the bow and 4 2 cm 0.79-inch Z-30 anti-aircraft guns. She could carry 23 torpedoes or 17 torpedoes and 12 mines. Now, she had only one commander, which was Otto Hubschen, 27 June to 20th November 1944, and no operations. I think the picture in the Wikipedia is like a museum ship in Bremerhaven. But this is the information I could manage to find related to our new submarine in the Azur lane. But now, what about her stats and skills? As you can see in the screen, mine is not complete at all. So, I'm gonna read some information on Azur Lane Wiki, and I will put some pictures in the way editing this. Now then, let's start with the HP, then we go with the oxygen, and then we go hunting range, and what else there was? Perhaps torpedoes as well. Let's start with the HP. Maximum HP is 2020. Now I did some quick look, and according to the Azur Lane Wiki, U-2501 has the highest HP to all submarines comparison, which means she can actually survive quite a good amount of hits. You could actually compare her to the normal destroyer HP at this point. Close enough. A low rarity destroyer. Now as for her oxygen, actually let's go with the oxygen last, because that one is very unique about this ship girl. Now as for torpedoes, 579, of course in level 125, which is not bad, which is actually very good. Now as for her, let's just say hunting range, which took me a while, but then I realized, well, I noticed it is shaped on the what is the creature's name? Jellyfish? Just look in her character design later on. It is a jellyfish. Something similar like U-31. These are the two jellyfish designs we have right now on the Iron Blood. I have to admit, it is a really nice change of face. Now, as for the oxygen, which is rather important, because without oxygen, your submarine is very sunk at the start of the battle. Now, with the U-2501 case, she has 308 oxygen points, and I am very confident, but I will do just information's sake research. How long is this 308 oxygen points? But what I have learned based upon this 110, the Enigma Shark submarine, the 20 point, excuse me, 200 points is 20 seconds. Now, as the 308 is 30 seconds, 0.8 seconds, which is the largest oxygen compared to all submarines in the game currently, meaning she stays longest of time underwater. Although the one Sakura Empire submarine can recharge her oxygen tank, which is fine. But if we remove that skill and focus on only the how much oxygen you have on tanks, U-2501 takes the cake. Now then, let's start with her skills. Let's start with the Deep Sea Resonator. As you can see, it is not 100% complete, but I'm gonna read the one on the Wikipedia. Actually, I'm gonna go too fast over here, excuse me. Let's go with the gears. Now over here, we have very interesting numbers on the efficiencies. With the first slot is efficiency 140%, the highest if I can actually remember, to all Iron Blood submarines comparisons. And her second slot is 135% efficiency. And I am personally confident that all Iron Blood submarines comparisons, U-2501 has the highest efficiency in her torpedoes. And the most unique of all is that she has 3 auxiliaries. Well, if you do not count the Tempesta ships. Which is rather unique. She doesn't have secondary gun. You can actually make very interesting builds with the 2501 if you want. In my case, she is not complete yet, but I gave her the Type 93 pure oxygen torpedo, excuse me. And the newest pressure resistant hull design, which is really good, which is I highly recommend if you play this event where she is coming from. And improved snorkel, giving her extra 85 oxygen points, which is rather important. If you upgrade it one level more, it increases the hit possibility too. Now we can go with the skills. I was going too fast over here. Now, Deep Sea Resonator. in the Wikipedia it is rather very well separated, or well, I'm gonna read it right here. Deep Sea Resonator is a support skill. When deployed into a sortie, increases this boat's hunting range and ammunition by 1, and increases the submarine fleet's ammo by 1. At the start of a battle, increases this boat torpedo and reload by 10%. That is a really good start, I have to admit. Whenever this boat torpedoes hits an enemy, 70% chance to inflict special flooding debuff, takes damage every 3 seconds based on U-2501's torpedo, lasting for 15 seconds. Torpedo stat. Additionally, increases the damage this boat deals to floating enemies by 10%. Now comes the tasty one. Whenever an ally, whenever any other ally in the submarine fleet hits an enemy with torpedoes, 70% chance to increase this boat's accuracy by 10%. Stacks up to 10 times, lasting until the boat leaves the battle. Upon reaching 10 stacks, restores 10% of this boat's max HP. Now I'm gonna go directly here with my opinions. This is really insane. Now, also I believe a historical relation with the Type 21 design, because if I recall, related to 21 submarines, they were designed to be mass produced, and if one of the submarines hull parts or the sections, how should it be? She was built in pieces from the front to the back. Imagine like in puzzles or pieces. If one of those pieces is damaged, you remove the piece and replace it with a new one, which is a very interesting design. But because the war ended, this wasn't properly tested. On paper, and particularly on paper, it sounds really interesting, but personally I am not so sure right now. Is it really efficient? But either way, that's a historic relationship. But in game, submarine that can actually heal is a really good one in, let's just say, map 15 and 16. Of course, there's an Operation Siren variation as well, but not into it right now. Let's go with the attack skill, Listener of the Tides. Now I'm gonna read this one from the Wikipedia as well, because mine is incomplete. It says as follows: Listener of the Tides. At the start of battle, if all 3 allied submarines are present, increases this boat torpedo crit rate by 10%. During battle, increases this boat oxygen by 40. 1 second after this boat oxygen reaches 0 and she resurfaces, this boat retreats from battle. 5 seconds after the start of battle, launches level 10 special barrage. Damage is based on the skill's level. 15 seconds after starting battle with the fleet that this boat is not in, as long as this boat has not been sunk, launches a level 10 supporting barrage. Damage is based on the skill level. Revealing all enemy submarines in the area for 8 seconds and reducing the accuracy and evasion of all enemies on the field by 10% for 8 seconds. And I have to admit, this sounds really good skill. Now, it seems like she didn't participate any wolf pack tactic because war ended and she was a way later build. But if she was ever been in action during the war, she could have been very fascinating submarine. But this last part, revealing all enemy submarines in the area for 8 seconds and reducing the accuracy and evasion of all enemies on the field. It's very interesting, it says all enemies, like surface enemies including the submarines? Either way, this is very fascinating. Like an Odin skill. You know the Odin? The battle cruiser from the Ironblood that uses this Mimir skill to reveal enemy submarines, if I recall. And then we have when this boat oxygen reaches 0 and sea resurfaces, activates all at assault to U-2501. Now as for her skin, her character design, oopsie daisy, inspecting, you can see there is a jellyfish, red jellyfish. You can see the torpedoes over here and perhaps the bow of the submarine, the middle, and then there is the was it aft in the submarine? Well, the back, the rear of the submarine. Either way, very interesting tentacles over there as well. The character design is huge, I will admit, very huge. But it is a beautiful design, I will admit. It is a very beautiful design. She has skin waiting you to join, to take the shower. But very beautiful design as a character design. And grown up submarine person. Although she didn't see much action during the war. But I think that's all I'm gonna say, or either way this goes way too long. But I'm gonna give my final opinions about U-2501. Hello, voiceover lucky man over here, and yes, Ironblood U-2501. I have to admit, I did just a minor mistake with her HP. I-401 has the highest HP currently in the entire Azur lane while this video is made, and 2501 has lowest compared to her. But U-2501 still beats everyone by oxygen level, which is by far the highest currently in the game. And I admit that is very, very useful. Now, personally, I've been trying to use submarines and just close enough if the skill by some submarines allows like adding more oxygen, like couple of 4 seconds more, and if the skills also increases, your oxygen levels reaches closely to 30 seconds, like 300 closely, if their base level is 20. Let me fix that, 200 or 220 or somewhere like that, just examples in case. But with the U-2501 I say again, it is very impressive to have someone who can actually go 30 seconds and beyond. And every time I say 30 seconds, just based on just 308, as I mentioned before, by my personal research I managed to do, which I'm gonna conduct more research for the fact that I personally believe that 308 oxygen points is 30.8 seconds. And if you add, where is this skill? This very funny, oh yes, during battle increases this boat's oxygen by 40 points, which is adding 4 seconds more, which is 34 seconds. And if you add the snorkel, it gives you the extra 85 points, which is 8.5 seconds. You can actually go, in theory, 40 seconds underwater, which by the way is impressive. But I will conduct more research about the matter. But if you have this skill and the submarine maxed out before I do, please let me know in comments down below. And I heavily apologize if this video is getting too long, but my opinions, well, I admit she is not complete by a stat wise and skill wise, but I am confident that she is, although without a Wolfpack skill, very good Ironblood submarine thus far. Now there's one skill which actually got my attention, if I can find it again. Here, whenever this boat torpedoes hit an enemy, 70% chance to inflict special floating debuff. Takes damage every 3 seconds based on U-2501's torpedo stat, I believe, lasting for 15 seconds. Now, this reminds me, this one Ironblood submarine, was it U-81 or what was it, the submarine again, who had the similar skill, but the seconds were 24 seconds if I recall. And yeah, it was a longer seconds, but also she had, if I recall correctly, lower percent chance to add the flooding, but that's all I can actually remember right now, and I actually forgot right now to have in my second screen this certain torpedo submarine, this certain U-boat stats. Excuse me, I'm looking for words, English, come on. But I don't think there's nothing wrong other than she's just missing Wolfpack skill, which is every who is using Ironblood submarines is well known. It really knows, excuse me, words. The is very familiar with the skill. But then again, if you actually read carefully, and the deep sea resonator, if I recall again, mentions that whenever an ally in the submarine fleet hits an enemy with torpedoes, 70% chance to increase this boat accuracy 10%. if you can stack that 10 times. And lastly, on the boat leaves, upon reaching 10 stacks, restores 10% this boat XP. But there's small text over here. I'm gonna read only this far. Whenever any other ally in the submarine fleet hits an enemy with torpedoes, 70% chance to increase this boat accuracy by 10%. Increase in accuracy 10%, so that's like it can stack to 10 times. Operating. Okay, I'm gonna focus on that part only. I'm thinking too much. Increasing accuracy is very valuable if you are actually looking in submarine perspective. Increasing accuracy to torpedoes. That alone is surprisingly huge. And while I was reviewing this, I accidentally forgot to lock the all-out assault, and you know, it's not impressive. It's only, for some reason, she fires only 4 torpedoes and that's it. But then again, maybe they hit really hard, that's the question. But I'm not sure. Only 2 torpedoes and thus far there's nothing impressive about them, but I need to do more research, and I'm gonna do more shorter. I try to remember myself in the future to do a shorter second review about U-2501 once he is 100% complete. And that's the promise I actually want to remind myself. And of course, just small notification, if anyone has been following my channel recently, there's a small notification and update related to June next month, while I made this video. Next week, while this video is released, I'm gonna go with the shall we say hiatus, content creator rest, just for a entire June vacation. If you want to see all full details, I highly recommend you take a look into my notifications. But hey, either way, in YouTube only. Now back to the submarine. She may be lacking some. She only has 2 skills, if we don't count the all-out assault. But how much details is going on in Deep Sea Resonator, which is support skill, is actually telling a lot. And at the start, when deployed into a sortie, I'm reading the skill over here, increase this boat hunting range and ammo by 1. Reminds me of this lone wolf skill, but also increases the submarine fleet's ammo by 1. I don't know where the Wikipedia says instead. But also at the start of battle, increases this boat torpedo and reload by 10%. I believe this is a replacement to a wolf pack. Now, if you have any familiar with the German U-boat history, well, Type 21 is way later of the war and closely to the end of the war. No wonder she doesn't have a wolf pack skill, because Type 7 and Type 9s, if I recall, were heavily always operating in a pack and hunting merchant ships. If we had, shall we say, Type 21 submarines on the Wolfpack, it could have been very interesting skills. But because war ended, she had zero skill, zero relationship with the Wolfpack. So she is buffing herself, and thanks to being, I believe, personally believe, you can prove me wrong, but highly advanced submarine. Technologically. And after the war, other nation knows it. There is something unique, and we can actually use this technology and improve our submarines based on this. And look where we are today, these days submarines. Hydrogen peroxide engine, was it? But you can remind me again in the comment section. Now then, is she worth it? I recommend testing and trying. And because her auxiliary, extra auxiliary slot, let me remind at least that one too. That means she has 3 slots, and you can actually build this submarine very interestingly compared to the others. And once I have her completed, I can either give her this improved batteries that increases hunting range by 1, or I will keep the torpedo, the ultra rare torpedo, and leave the extra range buff to the MUV officers. And I also forgot to mention what type of fleet I'm using U-2501, as you can see in the background footage. Well, this there are 2 options. You can either have 96 alongside this Type 21 submarine, which says Wolfpack formation U-96, increases accuracy by 10% and critical damage by 15% for all your Hagiobull submarines. This is something that I highly recommend having with the Type 21. Now, there was, yes, come on, brain. That very speedy submarine, 101. Yes, Wolfpack formation U-101 increases evasion rate by 7% and damage to destroyers and light cruisers by 7% for all your Hagiobull submarines, which is something I too would recommend. But as time goes on, I believe we will get some more interesting Hagiobull submarines that can either buff more to the our Type 21 submarine, U-2501, but that's on the future, what type of submarines we are gonna get there. But right now I highly recommend having 96 and 101 with the U-2501, because these 2 can give some really interesting buffs to this ultra rare submarine. if you have them, and I highly recommend having them. It's kinda bad that although she was given anti-air guns, but according to Plus in World Warships and Azur Lane, we don't have any access to these anti-air guns, unfortunately. Although in real life she was given very small anti-air guns. But what can we do? Balance purposes, perhaps? But either way, I think that's all I actually think of. Only thing she actually requires is that, yes, G7E acoustic homing submarine, even ultra rare variation can be good. And although I am using Mark 16 submarine torpedo, because its speed, torpedo speed is 3, I highly recommend having one torpedo at least that actually goes closely to speed 4 or higher, or closely to 4 or above 3 at least. Because the faster you hit, the better. And the damage. And of course, the closer you can get to the enemy, also the better. That's all the only things I actually want you to actually focus on. But either way, I think I will do some part 2, which is way shorter, about my second opinion of 2501, because this one is not complete. But with this information alone, I believe she is very good submarine. Very good submarine that only requires just a little bit help from other submarines and you to give the best torpedoes you can find. But that's all I'm actually saying right now. This is gonna get a very long video. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this very informative, that can actually give you some ideas to what type of armaments or perhaps U-boat flotilla you want to build, hit the subscription and remember to hit the notification or so bell icon and all notifications on, so you don't miss the future content as well. My name is LuckyMias205. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.
言ったろ？あたしがお前のために戦果をくれてやるって。